Hello and welcome back to the Talking Walls podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cooper, and it's just the two of us today, the OG Pereira and Dave Azzapardi. How are you, son?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I had a busy day today, recording Tuesday evening. Yeah, it's been pretty non-stop. I'm absolutely shattered, but yeah, not too bad. Have you been back at work today? Is this your first?
No, I started back at the end of last week, and then obviously worked Saturday as well. But yeah, it's been all right. You always dread going back to work to think about all the rubbish that you come back to, and obviously there's been a little bit of that, but it's just a bit full on, isn't it? After you've got for me, I have two. This is my only sort of long period off work throughout the year. So when you got 2 weeks off and then you're just thrown straight back in the deep end, it's a little bit frustrating. But yeah, been a bit poorly over the last couple of days. Horrible stomach cramps and stuff like that. Must be my time of the month. But,
Not coming on, are you?
Yeah. But yeah, it's been Sunday up until even today. Horrible. But other than that, keeping well.
You know what though? When was it? New Year's Eve. I started to feel really. You start to get the aches and pains like flu.
Yeah.
I had that for on and off throughout the day up until yesterday, really. And I feel all right today, but. It was almost like, when you feel like, oh God, it's coming, I'm gonna feel horrendous tomorrow. And the next day I was like, I still kind of feel the same, I can still do stuff, but I feel a bit groggy, but I'm all right today. So I think there's a bit going around, probably the vaccines, mate.
Yeah, COVID
for bloody Pfizer. Yeah, I mean, off the high of the Spurs draw, we come crashing back down to earth, haven't we, really? I tell you what, mate, and I know I left early last night, really early, in fact. I can explain why for those who call me a plastic, and to be fair, you're more than welcome to. It just felt like dead. Even getting to the ground, left it quite late last night. No traffic, no atmosphere. Getting into the ground, I was like, what the fuck is going on? It felt eerie. I mean, I thought when they played all of the lights, I thought we could possibly be back.
I thought that as well. When I heard that, I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah. It felt dead.
I get what you mean. It was almost, I don't know, felt like an end of season game, nothing much to play for, just sort of turning up. But yeah, it was strange. I don't know. Obviously, first game back at Molineux for the New Year evening game. I think everyone is a little bit under the weather and tired, but yeah, it was strange. The atmosphere was really poor as well yesterday. I just think throughout the evening, the result reflected that as well. It was just a bit of a non-event, really, or it felt like that anyway.
I know people probably say, well, the early goal probably killed it, but I felt like before the game even kicked off, I was a fan of the new walkout music, not the music, but the video and the lights and stuff. I thought that was a bit of a better touch after all of the lights. It felt like it flowed a bit more and it built the atmosphere better. But as soon as the match kicked off, it was pretty dead. I know obviously the early goal will have obviously changed that. I think most fans were more focused on giving Gibbs White stick more than supporting the team.
Even that felt a little bit half-arsed though. Even when he first got the ball, it's like half the South Bank started booing him, and then the other half's like, "Oh yeah, we're not meant to like him." But yeah, even that felt a bit half-arsed, and obviously just lasted a moment, seconds really.
The thing is, there's some players who will either crumble under that or thrive off it, and I think he's one of those who thrives off it. Look at Nunes last season; he absolutely crumbled, didn't he? He got pulled off at half time. Lucky sod. But then Gibbs White, he loves it. He plays up to that, and you just feeding him. So I don't know what we do. I also, if I'm being totally honest with you, mate, I don't really understand it.
I get it to a degree. I don't. It's really weird, the whole situation surrounding it. If you actually sort of put some sort of timeline, where is the sort of at what point was it for us to hate him that much, if you know what I mean? I think towards the end of his Wolves career, there was stuff sort of off the pitch with his family and stuff like that, but he was never too toxic towards the club publicly or anything like that, really. I think he was disappointed with opportunities that he had at the club, but he was never sort of too public about his dislike for Wolves. And look, ultimately, we had him since he was a kid, and he made his career almost. But strange. It is strange. I get it, but Wolves fans booed him. It was that cup game, wasn't it? And then he gave it back straight away. And I think that was the point there when all love was lost, really. So, but yeah, he was bound to score. I had him in my fantasy Premier League, and that wasn't because I thought he'd score yet. Well, I did feel he'd probably make an impact. I think every time I watch him, I don't watch Forest a hell of a lot. Every time I watch him, I think Morgan looks one of the best players on the pitch, to be completely honest.
No, I agree, mate. Every time I've seen, don't get me wrong, I don't think he's like a world beater, but every time I see him play, he's busy. He links midfield to attack really well. Like, he's very strong as well for his size. But I'm just not sure if I really get it, mate, because he left Wolves. Wolves offered him a new deal, didn't they? He didn't want that. He had his heart set on Forest. I think he felt that he should have been playing more under Nuno. I don't think Nuno thought he should have, and I think he probably thought, I want an opportunity elsewhere. I want to go to Forest, where he's worked with Steve Cooper before, with England, and where he is the main man. And you know what? At the time, you probably think, if you don't want to play for the club, then fuck him. But it is what it is. It's not like he come out afterwards and was saying that, I was really poorly treated at the club. I'm so glad to. But like, if he has, then fair enough. I stand corrected. But I don't remember him ever having really like a bad word to say. And obviously, we played them. We've given him loads and loads of shit, and he's give us it back. I mean, you can't really moan at that, can you?
Yeah, I think with Morgan, unfortunately, in his early stages of his proper professional career, Wolves just didn't really play a system that suited him as a player.
Yeah, good point.
He was a player that could sort of play number 10 really, and Wolves, especially under Nuno, never really played with that system. And although I think he would have done a job out wide on the wing, I just don't think he has the explosive pace as such to play there. And I think, and this isn't a dig at him, I think in terms of his personality, I think he will thrive in a situation where he is the sort of main man. And I think he has that at Nottingham Forest. Whereas, again, it sounds weird to say at this stage of the season, looking at both teams, but I don't think he would have ever had that at Wolves, really. So it was a move that suited both parties. We got a fee and a figure that we were happy with. And obviously Forest got a player that they were happy with as well.
Didn't he play? It was against Chelsea, wasn't it? Where I think we beat them 2-1 at home.
Yeah. When Raul scored, he had a great game. He got the assist for Raul, I think.
He started. Didn't he? Wasn't that when Nuno switched to the 3-5-2 and he played in like a midfield 3?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of games where
he was brilliant.
He actually played well. That game, I think that game. He played well and then struggled then after that for a little bit. But then was it the game we beat Cardiff quite comfortably at home? We scored that brilliant team goal.
Yeah.
And he played in that game. It was him, Jota, and was it Jimenez, I think? Because it was a really rotated team, but he played that and he was brilliant as well. So there were a couple of games where, he played a lot more games for Wolves than I think people realise as well. He played a lot of games for Wolves, but I don't know, just never really got going, did he? And Bruno Lage obviously liked him, but for whatever reason, he wanted to move on to a new challenge. And look, fair play to him, it's worked. And now I think he'll be a staple in that England team for the next short while anyway.
And also, Wolves got a hell of a lot of money for him, considering that he'd not really done it in the Premier League, apart from fleeting appearances for Wolves. Most of his work was in the Championship. Forest obviously saw something that they liked. And, it worked for them. But in terms of a fee to work for Wolves, you you could say, but what can you with that money? I don't know. It's hard to really say like for like. But I think Wolves will get, $7.5 million if they qualify for Europe too. So Wolves haven't done too badly out of it. But before we go on to the game, what's your stance on the chants that were being sung? His missus sleeps around and that the baby might not be his and stuff. I know a lot of people I saw on Facebook were saying how disgusted they were with it. And then I think you've got the polar opposite who are saying it's utter woke nonsense. I think it probably is a little bit in the middle. It doesn't offend me.
I think I'd probably be in the middle, because even if I was in Morgan's shoes, I don't. And someone was singing that about my missus. I think I just laugh it off.
You'd agree?
No, I just think I'd laugh it off. I genuinely don't think I'd be arsed because I think that it ultimately gave Morgan the kick up the backside to do something in that game. And I think that's what it would do with me as well. I think it tends to be the older generation, and I don't completely disagree with them. It's the older generation that find it disrespectful and stuff, but it doesn't bother me really either way. I've heard much worse at football grounds.
Yeah, so have I. Like I said, it doesn't. I wasn't sat there thinking I'm really offended, but I also wasn't sat there pissing myself thinking it's hilarious. It was quite a bit of a non-event for me. But a few changes last night, mate. Doyle came in. Pedro Lima made his first Premier League start. Who else came in? Geddes from the start. Strand Larsen from the start. I mean, the first goal is. I mean, I think all the goals are typical Nuno, aren't they? They're sucker punch. So, and we've seen it obviously at our club. The way the players that he's got are absolutely perfect to do it with as well. Like Hudson-Odoi and Elanga have just got burners, haven't they? They're so. I say so quick, Doc. I think anyone running against Doc would probably look. If we had a foot race with Chris Wood, it was like chariots of fire, weren't it? But yeah, that first goal, mate, I think it completely. I don't know, not the stuffing out the atmosphere, but I don't necessarily think it knocked the stuffing out of Wolves. I think the second one did, but I thought, I don't know how you feel about this, mate. I thought first half we actually played all right.
Yeah, no, we did. The first half we were okay, and I think I probably underestimated how good we were because I did my reaction yesterday, and there were a few people. It was weird as well, the comment section of that video, because it was a real 50-50. Some people saying how bad we were, and then the other 50% saying actually we were quite good. First half we had like a spell of about 10-15 minutes where we were really, really good in terms of creating chances and testing Cells, who had a really good game. But yeah, I think the first goal's frustrating for me. I think the issue that we might see, and hopefully it's just because he hasn't got the personnel that he wants yet in that system, but with Vitor, that system there, as soon as he lost the ball in midfield, we were just all over the place. You saw the amount of space and time that Morgan had to run into. He plays the ball out to the right-hand side. I think Aït-Nouri's got to get tighter to the guy who's on the ball. But as soon as Morgan passes that off, I could tell you 100% he was going to get that ball back. It was so obvious what was going to happen. So I think Aït-Nouri's got to get tighter to the crosser, but ultimately I think Santi Bueno's got to get tighter to Morgan as well. But yeah, it's a frustrating goal to concede, to be honest, that one. Like you said, typical Nuno. I think if Nuno had to sort of plan out that match how he would have wanted it to go, it would have been exactly how it panned out in the end. And the second goal sort of similar, really. Frustrated, but Wolves had a lot of chances first half. Could have been a completely different game at half time, really.
Matt Sells though in goal, fuck me, he's like he's not even German, the Belgian wall. he was honest to God, he just managed to get in front of everything. He's had a good season, hasn't he? Sells.
He'll be very good.
He kept them in that game. He for me won the game for him.
Yeah, he did. He made some great. So we didn't test him as much in the second half. He made a good save, I think, for Strand Larsen in the second half. But there were a couple of chances in the first half. And again, like I said, I don't think I appreciated how good the chances were because a few people were saying to me, like, God, we should have buried some of them. But yeah, I think
it's perspective where you sit, though, isn't it? Because
I've not watched the highlights back, and I think that's what it is. Well, from the far end, I knew we had chances, but I couldn't really tell how clear cut they were.
They were really good chats. So, they were close to the goal, but a lot of them were almost like snapshot chances. But it's where you sit, isn't it? Because I thought with the first Forest goal that I thought that's a really well worked goal, and I watched it back on YouTube this morning. I thought, fuck me, that defending is so bad. Yeah.
Like
you said, it's just. That ball was only going back one way, weren't it? It was so obvious.
As soon as he passed it off, it was obvious, but. That, like I said earlier, it was too easy the way we lost that ball and the amount of time and space he had to run into that Morgan. But
one pass, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I'm hoping that's just teething problems in terms of his personnel and trying to get it to work his system, because I think that just didn't work at all.
I think, I don't know, there's obviously the chances that we've spoken about. One thing I did notice in the first half is Rodrigo Gomez and Pedro Lima. I thought Lima's positioning probably didn't do Doc any favours, but you don't know whether that's by design or not. But it's nice to have two wide players who are able to cross their T's.
Yeah.
Some of the deliveries were fantastic. And we've seen in pre-season, Lima's got a whip on him. But last night, him and Gomez, I was really impressed. But there were a shining light in what was overall a pretty crap performance.
Yeah, I think with Lima, I think Wolves aren't not necessarily clamouring for him to start, but obviously we've wanted to see him get more opportunities because he looked okay in pre-season. And I think yesterday he didn't look out of place. He deserves more minutes, I think. Yeah, like you said, there were times where he was pushing on and maybe didn't have, whether it's the work rate, desire, stamina, I don't know, to get back and support Doc a little bit more. I thought Doc, other than the second goal, coped fairly well with it. I think for the second goal, for me, Doc, as soon as he realises he's not going to win that foot race, he's just got to commit a foul and take a booking. As soon as he lets him past him, I think the rest of the defence have got to organise themselves better, but it was just far too easy. I think Lima probably should have helped a little bit more then. But in terms of his delivery, he's got a serious whip on him and like a real venom to his crosses as well. But they all seem to be in the right areas. A couple of times where he went, not just Lima in the second half as well, just right across the face of goal, just gagging for someone to get a touch on it. But Rodrigo Gomez as well, his work rate's phenomenal. I think second half as well, just like if he lost the ball or if things didn't quite go to plan, he'd run back and, work his bollocks off to win it back. So you've got two extremely talented young players there, and hopefully with the minutes, can start knocking on the door for more starts. But I remember when Pedro Lima joined Wolves and he said, I've come here because I want the best opportunity to play for Brazil in the 2026 World Cup. And when he hadn't even started a few games for us, I thought, it's a big task for him now. But between now and the end of the season, if he gets more opportunities, becomes a regular starter next year, he's got every chance of doing that, I think.
I don't think he looked out of place, which is probably the biggest compliment I can give him. I think he falls victim to, and they're probably the same with Gomez, Forbes, Lima. When a player's out the team, everyone thinks they're world beaters. Yeah. Because they're not playing. It was the same with like Pedence last season before, I can't remember. It's almost like absent makes the fart grow Honda. Christ almighty. Fart grow Honda.
It's when players aren't quite performing as well, it's weird with Lima, I think, because everyone sort of appreciated how half decent Semedo has been. It's not been too bad, but definitely with Forbes and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think he's a world beater. I think he should have had more opportunities, but to be honest, the last few sub appearances he's had, Forbes, have been largely ineffective, to be honest.
Yeah, we speak about him quite a lot, don't we, in like our group chat, because Joe thinks it's too early to judge him and he really likes him, but it's probably been the Brentford game where I thought he'd done all right there. But every time I've seen him play, mate, he looks like he can't even trap a bag of cement.
It'll be intriguing because I think for me, we don't know exactly what the clause is in his contract, if it's starting league games, for argument's sake.
He's going back.
Yeah, I don't know if it was starting 10 or 15 league games and then we've got to buy him or whatever, because as you've seen, he tends to only come off the bench. But if it is league games and the cup doesn't really concern that, for me, he has to start on Saturday, and that's a real big test. And look, it's a championship side that we're playing in Bristol City, but that's a big opportunity for him to show the type of player that he is from minute one, which we've not really seen from him at all, and against a team that he should be getting the better of. But yeah, like even yesterday, I thought he came on and look, things didn't quite fall in his way, but just not enough sort of sharpness in his performance. Like you expect him to get the ball and start with his pace and with his power, run at them, cause the problems, and he just doesn't look like he's got the confidence to do that at the moment.
He can't trap a ball. No. He gets a ball and it's like bouncing off him. You're a Premier League footballer, but and rusty maybe, but for me it's fairly obvious that he doesn't fancy him. I don't think O'Neill fancied him either. And I said that to Joe last night. He said, "What, like over Cunha?" I went, not necessarily over Cunha, but like in games like last night when you've got so many injuries, that is your chance to say, like, "Go on, Carlos, go and show me what you're made of." And for him to get 15 minutes.
Yeah, he'd be almost games like yesterday are difficult because you saw how deep Forest were playing with that low block, especially in the second half. It's so difficult to break them down. I think Wolves are quite poor at even trying to punish that, really. Just too slow with the final ball. So games like that weren't going to, well, it's not going to suit him, really. But I don't know. I think I am intrigued about his future because, everyone was a little bit excited about him in terms of him being sort of Neto's replacement. But obviously that's just not gone to plan so far.
Yeah, I thought Doc and Doyle had a poor game as well last night. Doc, who's been really good the last few weeks, happens though, doesn't it? We all say like quietly he's doing really well, and he has a bad game. It just seems typical at the minute.
Yeah, I think the team in general, it was such a difficult. It was going to be a difficult game anyway. Obviously Semedo and even Dawson to a degree were misses. I think you play Dawson there, you allow Ait-Nouri to get a bit further up. I think Ait-Nouri's completely wasted as a left centre back. To be honest, you saw in the second half he started to make things happen a little bit more when he got involved further.
Needs must though, wasn't it? Who else are you gonna? I mean,
yeah, of course. Unless you give
obviously not ready.
Yeah, if you throw Moipu in the deep end again, you might see him start on Saturday for argument's sake. But I think. You look at the players that were unavailable yesterday, and in terms of the level of performance, not necessarily the result. I don't think Wolves did awfully, but yeah, just there were a few performances. Strand Larson got a lot of stick as well online yesterday, and I'm not going to disagree or agree either way. I thought Hwang again.
Mate, I didn't want to bring you up.
The first half, I actually thought, there were a couple of chances or a couple of times where he got the ball, drove forward. And he had the one chance where he did the classic Kwang where he's got on his left foot and he cuts back onto his right. And he was quite unlucky. Again, this was your end of the pitch, so I don't know. I think Sells got a touch on it, didn't it? And it got cleared off the line. But second half, there were a couple of times, and I know someone's asked us a question about Tommy Doyle's final ball, but there was a time where Hwang's run was just so poor. And then Doyle actually plays a half-decent ball in behind, but Hwang's running the complete opposite way to the ball. It's just like football IQ with him sometimes. It's just like non-existent. And look, we've got the best out of Hwang when he's sort of a poacher, but ultimately, I don't know. I just don't know what's up with him at the moment. I think if someone else comes in with that sort of 20 to 25 million pound bid, you got to be snapping their arm off for it, I think.
West Ham are interested in him, aren't they? Just reportedly, but
assuming if Lopetegui goes, that probably
that's what I mean. It depends who's driving that, because I mean, is it Tim Steiden? Is it not Steiden? He's a technical director. If reports suggest that he's been basically demoted, more of a consultancy role. So you don't know, do you? But say it's snap your hand. I don't think anyone's going to give you 25 million for him. I think you're probably looking like 20 million. But like it's decision making last night. It's so poor, so. I don't
know what it is. I just think I don't know if it's confidence, but ever since the Asia Cup last year, he's come back. He's a completely different player. Just no confidence. There's no rhythm in his game, which he hasn't had that because of injuries or whatever. Obviously, didn't get huge opportunities under Gary. I don't know what it is with him. And look, he scored before the Forest game. He had 2 in 2 games, but like I said before, I think the rest of the Spurs game, I thought he was largely ineffective. But I think that's the issue with the Wolves squad at the moment. I think it's not going to be anything you can do in one transfer window, but over a few transfer windows, if we stay up in the Premier League, this squad is full of average or below average footballers. And
we said that last night, didn't we? In times where you've got 3 or 4 players out, and you've got players coming in from the cold or from the fringes. You just highlight like how I think below average. Well, Bellegarde hasn't worked out. Sarabia, he's just
even Lemina came on and looked disinterested.
Yeah, I don't think he can be arsed, can he?
Well, I think even using and it's easy because you could probably use this for a lot of teams, but you got Forest there, and look, on paper maybe they're not the best players in the world, but you got Chris Wood there, and then when he comes off, you bring on Taiwo Awoniyi, who's normally injured, and that's why Chris Wood's had the chance and doing well, but to have a player of that caliber come off the bench and then come on and do something, i.e. score the goal, that's what Wolves haven't really got a lot of, to be honest. And I think, I don't know, at the start of the season, I think a lot of people saying it's probably the best squad depth that we've had, but all of a sudden you took a few injuries and suspensions or whatever in there, and you look at the bench again yesterday, it's a little bit of a concern, but I think, there's just a lot of average footballers in that squad, unfortunately. I think over the next few windows, that's something they've got to address sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult this January. I think because I personally think we need 4 players, including the new lad, Agbadu. He is, isn't it? But you've got to, unless you take Mosquera out registration and perhaps Kalidasic, if he's definitely not going to feature for us a while still, you've got to move on 2 or 3, 4, haven't you? Which is easier said than done. I think Lamina will go, and wish him well if he does. Sarabia probably just going to wait until the end of his contract runs out, aren't they?
I try and move him on this month. I think he's again been largely ineffective. Look, he's not had the opportunities, but you got 4 first-team goalkeepers for a start, which is like 3's bad enough, but when you got 4, it's just damn stupid.
But I think they do that to fill the quota, don't they?
Yeah, which is fair enough. But I'm thinking in terms of wages, you don't have to. You just leave that space blank and you save the wage or whatever. I don't know. It's just a bit strange for me. Dawson probably leave at the end of his deal. Typically, a lot of these homegrown players as well. But there's just so many average footballers there at the moment, and I don't want to be going on a down of this podcast because I think under Vitor before yesterday we've been playing okay, but ultimately to make the step, yesterday highlighted it a little bit more when you're missing a few players. Just the performance was really poor and really flat, really. I think that shows.
One thing I noticed yesterday, I think it's you can tell they're a really well coached team. I think the profile of the players helps as well, like Murillo and Milenkovic. Just in terms of box defenders, they're brilliant, aren't they? Anything that comes in, it's gone.
Their height compared to ours yesterday was just.
We're a really small team yesterday. Yeah. I said it to. I think I said it to you yesterday with players that we've been linked with, like the is it Rios, the Colombian, Venezuelan, Ecuadorian, one of them. Yeah, one of them.
I think he's Ecuadorian.
6'3". I said I'm a big fan of us building a bigger team because you see now so many Premier League sides who are heavily reliant on set pieces being this massive weapon, and we never seem to have it, and we never seem to deal with it.
It's more than anything, really. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you got like yesterday, the tallest players were Strand Larson and Bueno and Doku 6'1". I think that's it. Everyone else is below 6 foot. Whereas Forest, you got the 2 big lads at the back. I think Maria's about 6 foot, but obviously he's a big lad. Then Elliot Anderson, probably 6'1". Chris Wood, 6'4". You know, it's. But the way that they've signed those players are absolutely perfect for what Nuno wants, like pace in abundance. The players who can soak pressure up, pounce when there's a mistake, and then you've got the front 3 who can just go. Obviously not Woodmore, Gibbs, White. Whereas I don't know, I feel like we're kind of stuck between 2 kind of playing styles. But people moaning about the style of play, about Nuno and stuff last night. Don't get me wrong, in the last season, it was turgid. The football was wank. It wasn't anything like what we saw last night, so I don't think it's comparable. But it is akin to what we saw in his first 2 or 3 years. But I think that's really entertaining. Like, knowing that you're just soaking the ball up and then you go and it's like 4 or 5 players attacking. For me, I think that's more entertaining than the tiki-taka stuff, slow build-up.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you get 3 points, who cares? Yeah. Why are you bothered? It's not like they've scraped and shithoused a 1-0 win. You know, they beat us 3-0. And, I think the first half especially, they look good every time they're on the counter. So I don't mean they're bothered. You know, for Forest, a team that were, for the last 2 seasons flirting with relegation, I don't think they're bothered how they play, really. And same with us, got us into European football back-to-back 7th place finishes. I think every Wolves fan would snap your arm off of that again right now.
I think it does show if you look at Forest's squad last season compared to ours, I would say that even like last season, that squad was better. But even look at it now, I know they're in form. It's going to sound daft, but I don't think there's much difference. I know,
I agree.
But if you recruit properly in a playing style that really suits the manager and the coach, and we know Nuno's a good coach, we know Vitor Pereira's a good coach, we know that we thought that Gary O'Neill was a good coach, but it feels like Wolves have had so much change. It almost feels like we've got some players from some era, some players for only. It just feels like really disjointed in terms of what do we actually want to do? What do we want it to look like? I think that needs addressing, but an overhaul isn't what you want. That needs to happen over 3 or 4 windows, don't it? But then you need patience with a manager, but then you also need to be kind of above the relegation zone. I just think it's been obviously a few years of really poor planning.
Yeah, well, and your issue is that you plan towards one head coach. The chances are especially with the lifespan of a manager, in 4 transfer windows time, it's a different bloke in charge as well. So it's hard to plan towards one specific play style, or that's why certain clubs like Brighton and stuff they go for managers that tend to have a similar play style to the former manager. And they're sort of, I know things aren't quite going to plan so far this season for the new guy, but that can work. But we got some good players. I think I don't want us to get relegated up, but I'd be very, very intrigued to see how the planning goes and what sort of playing squad we would have in the Championship, because I think there's a lot of talented players there, but ultimately there's a lot of players where I don't think clubs would probably pay the money that Wolves would expect for some of their players. But next, this January, hopefully we bring some top players in, but ultimately in the summer, I think it's going to be absolutely huge for Wolves, regardless of whether Mateus Cunha stays as a Wolves player or not as well.
Yeah, it's. I still think we need 2 or 3 this window. Do you think that's too many, Dave?
I don't think it's too many. I think Agbadou comes in talking about another centre back, which probably makes sense judging by yesterday's lineup. To be honest, he could bring in another 2. I mean, central midfielder maybe, but only probably if Lamina goes. And I wouldn't be against another forward, to be honest, either. Another striker.
Yeah,
I think Strand Larsen comes off. Who have you got in that similar mould to him? No one really, have you?
I don't think you need like a similar mould. I think you probably need
just some sort of number
option.
9, really.
Yeah. Someone who's an actual number 9, not a Hwang who'll play through the middle or Cunha who can do you a job. I think you do need. Think you need to go and get someone, because
you know what's going to happen come March again. You got Leon Chiwomi or Nathan Fraser up for.
Listen, we've seen it already, aren't we? Like it shouldn't come to a shock to the club as any club that this time of year injuries happen because of the amount of games. I don't even think it's the amount of games, but I think it's the amount they train as well. I don't think it's the games that's the problem, and most players will probably tell you that.
Around Christmas and New Year, it's quite intense.
But we've seen what it can look like last night, and it was shit. And it only needs 2 or 3 injuries, really. I know other clubs will suffer with it as well, but even with what Hobbs said about centre halves, that this was always the plan. And I thought, I don't really agree with that. Most of Twitter said they don't agree with it. I know you can't obviously look into the future, but at the minute, it doesn't look like it was the right thing to do. Especially with going back to a 3.
I think going back to a 3, you probably needed another one. I think in terms of numbers, it was right, because I think you got to look. It would have been nice to bring in another centre half, but ultimately, like I've said before, you need to make sure these players are happy. Ultimately, you wouldn't be able to have someone like Santi Bueno as a 4-choice centre back, which would have happened at the start of the season, because everyone would have said it would be in order, probably Dawson, Mosquera, Totti as your first 3, and then Santi Bueno 4th. But if you're playing a back 4 centre-backs is probably okay. But ultimately now, Mosquera long-term injury, which you can't allow for. Dawson's had knocks here and there. Obviously, Totti's now got a long-term knock as well. So I think they'll probably bring in another one as well. Dawson's on his last legs, I think. Mosquera's out for the season. So, I think I'd bring in another centre-back as well as Agbadou.
But I think that in terms of centre-backs, that I don't think you should be starting someone like Santiago Bueno week in, week out. And I think that's been pretty obvious from the managers who have had him at their disposal as well. I'm just not overly convinced that he's cut out for the Premier League yet. He seems to be playing a lot of games just because of the options that we don't have. For me, he would be your 4th choice in a back 3, personally. Whether he's happy with that, I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know. I still can't quite figure him out, to be honest. I mean, yeah, like you said, he's sort of having to play at the moment because of the options. I don't know. I don't think he's awful. I think distribution can be a bit questionable at times. But I don't know. I just feel I think he gets pulled about a little bit too easily sometimes. But I don't know. I
he's
don't think he's
definitely not
awful.
physical
But
enough.
no,
Not against
I think that might be
your
it.
bigger players. Like if that was Kilman last night, I know we gave him stick last season, but if that was Kilman last night against Chris Wood, I think he eats him up. Whereas Bueno, he kind of resorted to the petulant like two shoves in the back, and I know you've got to leave it on him a bit, but he didn't. He didn't really win a toffee against him, did he? But Chris Wood perhaps will do that to
No.
players. I know there's rumours today. Don't know how true they are about Renato. Is it Vega, Portuguese
Vega,
lad who plays
yeah.
for Chelsea. That's something from Basel last season or season before. I think it was Basel, weren't it?
Yeah, about 12 million, I
F,
think. Yeah, 12 million.
yeah. Who can play, big lad, 6'3", can play left back, but also central centre back and left footed. More importantly, I said I think on the last podcast, or it may have been even to you, that for me, I still think we need a left footed centre half. Obviously, Agbadou's right footed. I still think we need that. So I'm hoping that they address that.
That's it. Just makes so much sense, that signing does, for Wolves, though. I mean, I'm not going to comment on the quality of the player because I'm not 100% sure, but you've got a lad there who can play
Portuguese as
centre
well.
back or full back. Portuguese. He literally ticks so many boxes for Wolves. I would assume Chelsea would be open to a potential loan deal with an option to buy, which is perfect for Wolves. So I think I don't know. It just makes sense, really. I know a couple of top clubs abroad are interested in him as well, but that would be an interesting signing. I think that would, if Wolves are desperate for another centre back, I think that one makes a lot of sense, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think you get him on though. He's not represented by George Mendes, but he probably guarantees he's going to have a say in it if he's going to Wolves. He seems to get his hands on any Portuguese player, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But before we go on to question FA Cup game we quickly touch on that, mate. I mean, he's probably going to be full rotation, is it? If where appropriate, because I think players like Pedro Leon are probably going to be playing again, and Rodrigo Gomez.
Yeah, I'm interested to see this lineup because I think I don't know when the next game is after this. Is it the Newcastle game? I think.
Yeah.
Is it midweek, the 15th? Yeah. So you got a few days, but it's not full. It's not like a full week. I don't know. I think you got to quickly chuck an 11 together. You got Johnston that will start. You'll probably have Lima again. Agbadou might play if he's signed in the next day or so. But it might be a bit soon. I don't know, but they can maybe use this as almost like a pre-season type game just to sort of ease him in slightly.
Yeah.
I think you probably stick. Moipu might come in for a debut, possibly on that left centre back role. But yeah, fringe players. I think Forbes. I'd like to see probably start. You might see the likes of Kundal play. I don't know, but they might not necessarily want to cup tie him. But I don't know. There's enough quality there. I know we've got the injuries and stuff. Like Dawson and Nelson might not be back, but I think there's enough quality there. You can add a couple of the fringe lads in and still have a strong team to go out. We should be beating a championship team, but you know what the FA Cup's like.
You'll probably see Hwang through the middle, won't you? I don't think Sean Larson will play. Or do you think there could be a shout for maybe like Fletcher Holman? I know he likes
maybe,
him, doesn't he?
Maybe, or at least off the bench. Yeah, possibly. But yeah, I think Hwang through the middle makes a lot of sense. Probably Rodrigo Gomez on the left, and then Joe Forbes. Yeah,
right. Or get through the middle. Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Or Bellegarde probably make if you're playing him more as a forward player, you probably start Bellegarde, wouldn't you?
So I mean, we got. It's not the depth that's a problem. It's the quality of the depth. Like the drop off is. No club in football history is probably going to have a like for like replacement for like Cunha in the squad, especially not fucking Wolves, who are 1 point above relegation zone or what we are. But the drop off does feel massive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From that starting at 11. But I definitely need to address it in January in some respect. But Yeah, even with those players coming in, no, Dave, as you said, you still expect to go to Bristol City and get a result. That's no disrespect to them. I don't even need to look at the table because I know they'll be 12th because they're 12th every single year.
I was just going to have a quick look as you said that. They all, yeah, you never hear them pushing for playoffs, but you never hear them in trouble, do you? Let's just have a quick look there.
I think they've won 3 on the bounce at Ashton Gate though. So
brilliant. Do you still chat to your mate? Was in Bristol City fan, wasn't he? Someone you work with?
Yeah, I used to work with him, but I've got. If anyone follows Matt Cooper Boyce on Twitter, there's a lad called Matt Hudson who does curries as well. Who we often get mistaken for each other. He's a Bristol City fan. So when he texted me, he was buzzing saying, "You coming down?" I was like, "Not really."
I missed the ticket. I completely missed the tickets. I didn't even realise they'd gone on sale and they're all sold
they're
out.
8th actually. They're 3 points off the playoffs.
Yeah, the 8th. I've just seen that. Yeah, so they're actually doing quite well.
I mean, if you take the wins out of it, they're 12th, as Sean Dyche would say.
They're unbeaten in 4, albeit against 4 teams that probably should be getting points out: Luton, Portsmouth, Plymouth, and Derby.
It'd be interesting to see how they play it as well, because they might be going into it thinking, should we rest some players?
Yeah, I don't know. You did expect them to probably go for it, but you don't know, do you? Maybe so. I wonder, is that Conway still playing for him?
No, he's gone to. He made a move in the summer. I can't remember where it was.
Tommy Conway, is it?
He's gone. Is it? It's going to annoy me without knowing.
Oh, Middlesbrough he went to.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Don't fucking doing all right for them, you know. 8 goals in 19 games.
Well, there was quite a few clubs who were linked with him, weren't they?
Yeah.
I know my mate said that they've got an Albanian lad, that Mehmeti. He's been playing really well recently, so we shall see. There are some gems in the Championship though. I know that Palace are after Ben Doak, aren't they, from Liverpool for like 20 million. Look, for me, Wolves should be all over stuff like that.
Yeah,
because there's so many players who can just make the step up. Even you've seen it with the likes of like Morgan Rogers and the lad who plays for Palace in the middle, the skinhead Wharton.
Even Liam Delap has done really well so far this season.
But they've not even needed to adapt. They've come straight in, and it for me, it's easy to adapt coming from the Championship than it will be coming from like Portugal or somewhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, but I know you don't get as much bang for your buck because it's not like it's the best kept secret now. Like everyone knows that there's players there, but I just don't know why they don't shop there more often.
Yeah, it's weird. I think we say it every summer, don't we? Or every window at least. I mean, I think there's another lad I saw linked with someone. I think Palace were looking at someone from Hull or something like that, I think. I can't remember.
I know after Ben Doak, he's at Middlesbrough, isn't he?
No, it was somebody else. I can't think. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's so weird. We've never really shopped there at all, have we? I know we're quite heavily linked with Alex Scott, but yeah.
He hasn't really done much at Bristol City at Bournemouth, has he? Yeah, I was reading an article about the Ben Doak transfer, and Liverpool are convinced he's the best player in the Championship.
There's a lot of that at the moment, though, isn't there, as well? Like in terms of, Louis Barry from Villa, but they're on about maybe selling him permanently, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah. But again, he did well, League 2, League 1 level, and they expected a good Championship move for him now, but I don't know. There's good quality there, like you said. Good quality. But the players like Liam Delap coming, I know Ipswich aren't doing particularly well. Probably a little bit better than people expect, for argument's sake. But he's bullying some teams. I mean, bullied us, really, at Molineux.
I think he's a bit of a twat for the penalties he's bought the last couple of weeks. But
yeah.
But yeah, he is. But he's almost a bit of a throwback centre forward, but so agile for his size. He's a real handful, but there's rumours he could be going back to City because they've got a buyback on him, haven't they? I
think about 30 million, I think.
I think you take that option up, don't you? I think he's a 50 million pound centre forward in today's market, considering his age.
Weird. I'm just looking, obviously he was in the Championship the last few years. He was never prolific there, really. 8 goals last season for Hull was his best return in the Championship. So he's done well to make the step up this year, really.
The lad at Norwich as well, the Borja Sainz or something. Apologies on that. Yeah, I've watched him a few times, and I think that he could. I know he's top scorer in the league. I think so. It's easy to make that, obviously that conclusion. But I think that he could quite easily make the step up. I really do. And
I think so. think he'll bring next week.
What's his face at Middlesbrough? Used to be at the Albion and the Villa. Is it Finazaz? Finazaz. He's been
the
really
striker.
good for Middlesbrough as well this season. Yeah, the striker number 10.
We were linked to him in the summer, weren't we?
Oh, were we? I don't know.
And West Ham were linked to him as well, weren't they? Oh no, maybe it was somebody else. No, it wasn't him. It was the striker for Borough. We were linked to.
Lat.
Can't think of what his name. Yeah, sorry, that's who
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's who.
With players there, I think who could more than do a job for us. I think even when you're looking for a goalkeeper as well, I think there's keepers in the Championship. A lot of Patterson at Sunderland. That Cooper, he was at Plymouth, wasn't he? The Sheffield United keeper, who's been done really well this season. We were linked with Japhet Tanganga as well, weren't we? It was at Millwall, was previously at Spurs. Again, I'm not really adverse to that.
I think it's probably because he's right-sided. I think they're probably aiming for a left-sider now, I would assume.
Yeah. But anyway, that's enough. That's enough about the Championship. Should we move on to some questions? Let me just get them up, mate. I think we probably answered a lot of them in what we've been discussing. Scott Smith said, conceding a third goal last night was really sloppy, especially as a goal difference to the bottom of the table could be crucial come the end of the season. Is there ever a time when you just accept it's not your night and shut up shop?
I don't think you ever shut up shop, do you, when you're losing a game? Yeah, you might want to be a little bit more organised. Yeah, you're never going to sort of shut up shop, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. We had, in terms of possession and stuff, we probably had the upper hand in the second half, but just one of those things, unfortunately. I think that the third goal did flatter them a little bit, and I think to be fair, a lot of Forest fans in the comments were saying like Wolves were actually quite good.
First half we were, second half we were crap.
Yeah, I think we should have done a lot more in the second half. Just didn't have any sort of urgency to do so. But yeah, I don't think in that situation you ever shut up shop as such, really, to be honest.
Mitch Davis says, do you feel as though Doyle massively struggles to keep up with the pace of the game and playing in the two? He couldn't get near Gibbs White last night. He's good when on the ball, but off it, it's so easy to bypass him. I think physically struggles. Fucking hell. Physically he struggles anyway. I just think because of his athleticism, he's obviously not the biggest lad, whereas someone like a Lamina will eat those yards up. So I think so.
I thought he coped okay the early stages. There was a couple of sort of 50-50s he had, which he did okay with. But there were times, the first goal, I think they get him on the break. He's just not quite got that yard of pace to sort of get back quick enough and, make it difficult for Morgan, really. But I don't know. I think in terms of his overall, look, I think he's a very talented footballer, but I think in that too, I still don't think he's in our best two midfielders. And I know there's a lot of people that want him to start football matches. I just don't think he's there yet.
I think they do because he's full of passion.
Yeah,
that's probably what it is. Amar's Music shows asked a question about him as well. Friend of the pod. He said during the game, Bill played 2 or 3 passes into space for us to run into, but no one made runs for the ball. Who's more responsible for this, Tommy or other players? He also mentioned about how impressed he was with Leo. If I'm totally honest, I think he's sometimes could say he tries to, the Hollywood pass quite a lot, doesn't he? Because he's obviously got a good range of passing, and sometimes I just think, just play it simple. He does love it, but I don't know about that. To be fair, it all depends on what they're working on as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to what I mentioned earlier. The one I tend to remember was the one with Hwang in the second half, where he's sort of holding on to the ball. Hwang's initial run was just so bad. And then Doyle plays a really decent ball in behind the defender, but Hwang's running the opposite way. So I think it's just lack of chemistry as such. So I think there's no one to solely blame it on. I think it's just not necessarily unlucky. It's just, I don't think you blame Doyle, but you maybe don't blame the runner either. It's just on another day it comes off and he looks like the best thing since sliced bread. But yeah, look, I think at times he can make things a little bit easier for himself. But yeah, I just don't think the game against Forest was one of his best in a while, sure.
A lot of people asking around January signings. How many more signings do you think we need? But also, what positions or what profile of player is a must for you?
Yeah, I think like I mentioned earlier, I think you bring in Agbadu. I think you probably try and get one more centre back in, centre mid if Lamina goes, and then another forward player. I think.
Yeah, I think I agree. I
Mm.
wouldn't I wouldn't be too bothered whether it's like an inside forward or an out and out centre forward. I think you can. I know we said you could do someone to replace Strand Larson, but
Not that it would happen because it's literally pointless of Brighton to let it happen. Someone in the similar mould as Evan Ferguson would be nice, to be fair. But
he's
you
not
would.
going to start, is he?
Well, that's the issue. Brighton, if they're loaning him out, they're going to want him to play
I think
football
they're looking for
matches.
a permanent deal as well still. But
Yeah,
they want silly dough for him, don't they?
yeah.
Matt has said, do we have the most reactionary fan base in the Premier League? One winning each year at one loss and we're relegated. I think every fan base is like that, to be honest. Not just
I was
ours.
surprised with the negativity after the game. To be fair,
I did see a lot of people questioning Vitor. I think he was obviously responsible as much as the players, but he kind of won them time behind his back, really.
Yeah, but like I said on the YouTube comments, it's probably the best place to look because it was so. It was like, I saw some people saying that's it, Dave, we're going down, and then other people were saying actually we're really good. And Forest fans were like, yeah, Wolves fans will be fine. Wolves will be fine if they play like that for the rest of the season. So yeah, it was a really weird one, really, to be honest.
It's easy to throw compliments out when you're third in the league, though. Isn't it?
No, yeah,
It's like
of
when we
course,
beat
yeah.
someone in the cup, like, oh, decent side you are, mate. Hopefully you might
When I
play
woke up on
off.
when I went on the WWFC hashtag this morning, it was unbearable. Their fans on there. To be honest, I thought I hope they don't do this every game.
It's Twitter, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mountain has said her half, if not three-quarter, empty stadium while the game's still going on, albeit the closing minute stage. He speaks volumes. I can't speak about this because I always go over. But it's a very bad look, and they're getting away from it. No excuses. But wasn't the promotion 2 tickets to the price of 1.5 as well?
I
For
don't
this
have a
game,
clue,
I think it was. When was the last time the Wolves ever needed?
Yeah, but
to
if you're
do that?
2-0 down and you don't even look like you're having a sniff, people are going to move on. It's Monday
People
night.
are going to have a sniff probably.
Yeah. No, they got work or school or whatever in the morning. Then it's just unfortunate that's what happens.
I did leave really early, and I woke up this morning and thought it's really bad, even from my point of view. I left at half time, and I know that's ridiculous. And I know there's people going to be in the comments calling me a plastic. That's fair
What I don't
enough.
get, Matt, is that you live so far away. I don't get why you travel there, go
Because
for 45 minutes, and then fuck off.
I've never left that early, and I didn't think we played that bad. But I weren't fit. I wasn't meant to go. My dad couldn't go because he weren't well, so I didn't want to let my brother down and go on his own. But I weren't feeling well at all. I was wrapped up and I was still like dithering. Plus, I had to be up at like 4:45 this morning for work. And my brother said to me, like, you don't look great. Do you want to go? And it got to half time. It's the second goal. I was like, I'm going to go. Like, I don't think we're going to get back into it. I don't feel well, and I've got to be up. I want a very good night's sleep. And I managed to catch like from the 55th, 56th minute on the telly. So it wasn't, I managed to still see most of the game. So there was mitigating circumstances. But even when I woke up this morning, I thought I probably could have stopped if I really wanted to. But I didn't.
You didn't miss much second half, to be fair.
No, I didn't feel great either. I've never ever left that early. Even like when we've been like Chelsea, when we were like 3-0, we were like 3 or 4-0 down like a few years ago. Under Lars, was it?
Yeah.
Or
not under lot. Was it under Lars?
Nuno. Catrone would have been Nuno. Wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
it was Nuno. Yeah, with Vallejo. Disaster.
Yeah, I've never left that early. But to be fair, there was loads around me at half time. We were walking out.
Strange, that is.
Yeah, it's. I just. It feels like, and I mean that. I don't think fans can really be arsed this season. I feel like we've had the fight beat out of us over the last few years.
Yeah, I think we've said it ever since COVID, really, haven't we? Atmosphere and stuff like that. It's never been the same. It never ever got going yesterday. I had a few chants and obviously had the Morgan chants and stuff, but as soon as that first goal went in, it was just non-existent.
I think it obviously driven by what's happening on the pitch, but as soon as that goal goes in and you have those few close chances and they don't go in, I think even more so now fans just thinking, oh, it's not our night. Even though he still could possibly be our night. It's just like, oh, we've seen this before. We know what's happening. It is hard. It is hard to get motivated, though, isn't it? And just do it. Like Forest, Forest fans were brilliant last night. I thought.
I thought they're probably the best that we've had in the Prem this
Yeah,
year. So
I
far.
agree. I agree. But they're third in the league. It's an hour away. They've come here expecting a win. They've got one. They've done a job on us. If it's the other way around, we're all singing and dancing, and it's just it is driven by what's on the pitch, isn't it? And there's a real disconnect between. I don't know how Forest fans feel about Marinakis. Probably at the minute, probably think he's the best thing that's ever happened to the club. But no, there's a massive disconnect between our ownership. There's a bit of a relationship between the players and the fans. It's just it is so disconnected, isn't it? It is so it don't help. It don't help at all. But yeah, it was it. When I watched it back on the telly towards the end, it was like 45 minutes before kickoff. That's what it looked like.
Yeah,
and obviously they clipped it and put it on Twitter. And it's like fucking shit club league, one standard club of the Albion fans. Just, absolute tapping for them.
Yeah, I think even like 10 minutes to go, 80th minute. I remember looking up and the loads leaving by me as well. I think it was just one of those evenings, unfortunately.
But yeah, we shall see, mate. I think that's us done, mate. Nice podcast. I enjoyed it. Just the two of us. Feel like I get to speak a little bit more, which people probably don't want to hear. You'll see in the comment section what people think, but yeah, it's I think one of those. They're a really well drilled side. I don't know whether they'll keep it up or not. I feel like they're probably past the almost like giddiness of it being like, oh, we've put a run together. I genuinely probably think now they believe that they will go on and do something.
It's weird because I look at performances like yesterday and I think, as mad as it sounds that we lost 3-0, they're still beatable, but ultimately, they're just grinding the results out at the moment. But I think the results that they've had, yes, they've won 6 of the bounce, but you look at them, they're all games that you probably would expect to be getting points from anyway. So the big test for them is when they do have some of the big boys coming up, if they can back those results up as well.
Yeah, well, it shows how quickly you can turn around. They were relegation threatened last season. This season, they're third in the league. So who knows what could happen next season? We might be third in the championship. So let's stay positive at least. Dave, where can people find you? Should they wish to follow you, mate?
At Dave as a party on all the socials.
Cool. We are talking Wolves across all social media platforms. Please leave us a 5-star review if you've enjoyed the podcast and you're listening on Apple or Spotify. If you're on YouTube, drop us a like. Subscribe if you're new. And of course, comment with anything that you feel about the game and the atmosphere and whatnot, the current state of Wolves. And until next time, I think it's a Happy New Year as well, isn't it, Dave? I don't think we've done a podcast since... I don't think so.
No, we did. Did we not do one?
Don't think so. Don't think we did.
No, I think it is. Yeah, it's our first one.
Happy New Year from all of us. Are you doing dry jam, Dave?
No. That was it. I had a pint of Banks's Mild last week. After the podcast.
Did you?
I forgot to mention. Yeah.
Any good?
I was at Womben Pool Bar and I saw they had Banks's on and I was like, oh my God, I got to have it. So I had it and it's not awful, but it's not a drink that you go out your way to order. I don't get why you would drink it. But it's not like I had a sip and I was like, it's okay. But I finished it, no problem. But it's just not anything that you would if anyone says, "Oh, a pint of Banks's Mild is my go-to," then there's got to be question marks there. I think
it's one of those drinks like not malts and bitters and stuff like that and ales. It's stuff you can keep drinking because it's not gassy. It might be what it is. It's not like a thick like a Guinness. Like my dad drinks like Worthingtons, and in our local it's like Timothy Taylor, Landlord, and lots of stuff like that, and it's. They knock like 12 or 15 pints back, and it's just, whereas, I know, but I could never drink that much lager. I tend to drink cider mostly now anyway, but after like 2 or 3 pints of lager, I'm like, man, I'm so bloated.
Yeah.
But yeah, no dry jam. I'm sticking to it, mate. I need to. I drank way too much over Christmas, but yeah.
I needed to get back to the gym. I wanted to smash the gym a bit already, but I've struck on that. I was going to go yesterday and I was ill, so I haven't been, so I need to... get back on that really, to be honest.
That's where I got up this morning because I have to go back into the office now twice a week. So I want to make sure I still go to the gym, but also not be at work till God knows what time. So that's why I was up and at the gym before 6 because I'll get it in now. It's done, but I'm tired now. But yeah,
That's why I like going to the gym in the morning. The hardest bit is getting up there. Once you're there, it's sound, but it's just getting up to get there. Yeah.
Have a little flat white in the gym and go to work, and then perks right up. And I get to work and think, fucking hell, what I'm doing here. But yeah, until next time, Happy New Year. Apologies if you think this was a negative podcast. Try and keep it balanced as usual. But yeah, hopefully just a bad day in the office and Vitor's men can right the wrongs of Monday night with an FA Cup win at Ashton Gate on Saturday, 12 o'clock kickoff. Until next time, take care and up the Wolves.